We see duality in the world and everything. There's up, down, right, left, light, dark, good and evil. And we could go on and on and on. And you want to make note of it, can add to that. We get the idea. And the way we perceive all of that is that they are separate entities. And they're separate entities even in the divine order of things is how we perceive. There's the Godhead, and then there's Satan. And there's a battle between the two. But that's totally not Jewish. That's totally another way to look at things. And naturally, we would look at things that way, because we do see a separateness, a dichotomy. We see distinction. And the two basic distinctions, again, is in the plurality, duality specifically, of everything in creation. And therefore we will see that in ourselves too, the duality. Maybe that's part of the problem today. There's so much mental illness is because of seeing a duality in ourselves. And therefore we're torn in different directions. But in fact, even the divine soul, which is pure godliness, that's a part of God. Nothing else in creation is like that. Comes into a body that's a creation and an animal soul that are the antithesis from each other. The antithesis. One is self-centered, one is God-centered, one is centered on pure devotion, pure giving unconditionally, and one is, yeah, I'll give, conditional. I get something from it. I feel something at least minimally from it. I gain something from it. Divine soul, no gain. Even ready to give up its own very existence just to connect. And they're not a duality here. They come together and clothe with each other. And embrace. Imagine. Whoa. What a battle. This way, that way. Which way you going? Godly soul wants to go this way. Animal soul wants to go this way. So, what would be the purpose? Why would God do that? Well, obviously, it must be that ultimately the upper hand should get the upper hand. The godly soul that has comes from the upper worlds and should have the upper hand and transform this negative part within me. And that's our challenge. Only the righteous can do that. So few people in any generation have the capability of doing that. The Beinoni can't even do it, let alone a Beinoni in training. So what are you sent here for if you can't even do that? Can't be just to beat it up and not let it have its self-expression, because then it would be a duality. Two different distinct things that are not enmeshed with each other. But they're enmeshed with each other. They're not separate from each other, just battling it out in the ring. If that's the case, Houston, you got a problem. Well, Houston's not a Beinoni, so Houston doesn't have a problem. But we got a problem, you and I, because we're Beinoni in training. We got a problem. How do we understand the purpose of this Beinoni who has come into this world? Seemingly for naught. Any questions, any comments, any thoughts on this? Rick, Sometimes when I pray, I feel a duality, but I do not feel duality, but oneness, just unity, light. Very good. All right. Tanya's helping. Way to go, Rick. Thank you for sharing. Beautiful. Any other questions? Instagrammers? Clubhousers? Please share. I hope it was clear, the point. Oh, the video. Before the soul descends into this world, is it with a clean slate, since the soul has not sinned yet? Are the souls that coming down into the world higher than a BIT? Yeah, so of course the soul before it comes down into this world is of a clean slate. Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct, Davida. Is it higher than coming down into this world? I mean, in its source, it's higher, but ultimately achieves more over here, as we're going to learn. This is where we're going with this, Davida, so I just can't give it over yet until, until we're there. Okay, but good point. Any other questions? Um, okay, I don't see any other questions. Okay. Okay, Jay's asking a question about why are governments murdering and why does God not protect them? It's a good question, but I'm not going to deal with that now. I'm going to stay on topic, Jay. Okay, I want to stay on topic and other things. We're going to start a community soon that we will be able to bring up all topics and all issues and all things that our people are struggling with. And I'm going to find about it soon. But right now, we're not going to deal with that. Can a soul sin, or is it the animal soul which blemishes? Well, it's the animal soul that causes a sin, but it affects the godly soul, keeping it imprisoned. Okay, I hope that's clear. One second, that was. So, are we ending with a question? Yes, we're ending with a question, Vicky. Vicky. And tomorrow's the answer. That's the way it's set up. Albert, is doing mitzvahs the prime mover for the godly soul to transpose the animal soul? Well, it is the vehicle, but it doesn't. That's the question. How do we do that? So that's yeah. because we're not transforming the animal soul. That's what as the righteous do. That's the issue over here. Just, again, I hope that's clear. So we are not battling the animal soul to conquer it, but, well, something Skyguard, gonna have to wait. We only asked the question today. Tomorrow we're gonna get beginning the answer. We won't get the complete. Of course, it's a journey here. We're always on a journey here, so we won't get the complete, but we will get there. Alan, please share.
Hey, Rabbi.
Hey, good morning.
So, this is a question that clearly may have to do with the community that you're putting together. But nonetheless, as we're getting close to Purim, and we're also, getting very close to the requirement to remember Amalek.
Right, for Shabbos.
That's right. So, and with the stuff going on globally right now, do you have any eitzos in terms of like how we should interpret this need to remember Amalek?
Right. So the Amalekis were the evil nation that started off with the Jews. Do we remember that Haman comes from? And so we read about it before the Shabbos before Purim, which will be this Shabbos Zohar, to remember what the Amalekis did to the Jewish people, and Zohar Timche, and eradicate this evil. That's a very good question. I have to give it some thought on what that means in the present. Which is very interesting. Good, Alan.
Sorry, Rabbi. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh, no. Actually, I like being put on the spot. You should. I like being put on the spot because it makes me dig deeper. So no, I appreciate it, but I have some thoughts, but I want to think it through a bit more how it relates, because interesting. You know what? Give me a few moments, okay? And we're gonna come back. Give me a few moments.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I just want to go to Jane is asking, is there really an original sin? Yeah, well, Adam and Eve, they ate from the tree of knowledge and good and evil. Absolutely. So, Leah, I read somewhere, and I cannot remember the source, for those who die due to persecution, terrorists, the Holocaust, etc., the souls go directly to Gan Eden. Is that true? Well, there is a truth to that, yes. Those are Kadeshim, holy people, that died just for those who died in the Holocaust, who died for the mere fact that they were just Jewish and no other reason. Yeah, absolutely. Is there a parallel between divine soul, animal soul, and heaven and earth? Yeah, it's up, down, right? And light, dark, right? Absolutely. Absolutely, Lord. There is a parallel, not necessarily just, yeah. Yeah, absolutely there is. Rena, when a new soul comes down and is clean, how old is it before it's responsible for a sin? Well, completely responsible is at the age of 20, starting to become partially responsible is at the age of 13 for a boy and 12 for a girl, where they become partially responsible. Fully responsible at the age of 20. Okay. So, get back to Alan's point. How do we deal with the fact of Amalek, this evil nation? What does that mean today? So we don't know who the Amalekis are today. They got mixed up with other nations, and therefore there is, in all intents and purposes, no Amaleki nation. There must be, that's an evil nation that there's a mitzvah to eradicate. So, on one hand, you could say, well, it's because we just don't know who that nation is today, because nations were kind of all the nations of bygone days have been all mixed with other nations. But there's another, maybe deeper reason, and this is my thoughts on this, is that today the way we deal with things, with the evil of the world, and the evil that's going on right now. Now, on one hand, yes, actually, you know what? It was the Torah studies of last night. Look at that. I'm not going to go through that. You can follow the Torah studies on the Parsha. You should come Sunday nights, 6:30, to participate in that. And there's actually, now come to think of it, exactly what we spoke about last night. You can get that on Tanya Rabbi on YouTube or TanyaRabbi.com. You'll be able to get it there. But in brief, the fact that we don't know, so now, how are we responding to the situation? A war, a terrible war that is affecting the entire world ultimately in many different ways. But the Ukrainians in particular, very much affecting their lives. And so how do we deal with it? With adding more light into this world. That's really the way. Instead of eradicating evil right now, what we need to do is emphasize on the positive that there is, the good that there is. Now, of course, at the same time, you need to fight a war. You fight the war. No question about it. But that was, again, in yesterday's class, and I'm not going to go through it right now. But war is a means to an end. For some people, war is an end in itself because it brings glory. It brings imperialistic ambitions that are fulfilled through war, and so on and so forth. Right? For the Jewish people, it's if it brings glory to God, but not any that's about it. Sorry, just 1 second. Hello. It brings, but really it's only a means to an end. What's the means? Is the battle. What's the end? That we're protecting our loved ones. That's how we see it. Right? That's the Jewish way. That has not been the way, by the way, of the world. The way of the world, if you know history into the last 100 years, has been either conquer or be conquered. That was, if you look at non-Jewish history. Jewish history, well, we have a Rashi, we have a Rambam, we have, Talmud, and we have great sages and great teachings. But if you learn about history, it's about this king conquering, creating a partnership through marriage with another country, and then together either they fight it out again, but some jealousy or whatever, or some imperialistic ideas, and they battle it out, or they come together and battle another country to conquer, because it was an end in itself, self-glorification and imperialistic, expansion of the country. And we see that that's what's happening. And the beautiful thing is the Jewish values that we've had for 3,000 years now become actually values that the world that for the most part, the world accepts. Then you don't do that. So what's war for the Ukrainians? To protect their people, to protect their loved ones. And nothing more. It's only a means to an end, not an end in itself. So that is itself a beautiful thing, and that's and therefore, what is the end? Doing good for our family, doing good for our community, doing good. Well, what does that mean for a Jew? That means Torah and mitzvahs. So what do we do now? Add Torah and mitzvahs. That's my brief thought on it. A lot more on it if you listen to the class from last night, I would suggest. Alan, does that bring some clarity, I hope?
Well, it does bring some clarity, but I have some other thoughts on this, Rabbi.
So I need, I just give me a moment because that was completely like, not that anything's really off topic, but um, um, but there's people that have issues on what we spoke about. So I just want to take a moment before we continue the conversation, if you don't mind, Alan, because what happens, I lose the feed when I lose the questions, and
Absolutely.
So Denise says, are the souls coming down for the purpose of the correction that was not complete? Well, Denise, you're going to have to be patient. We're going to get there, right? We're going to find out in the next few days why you're here, why I'm here, why all of us are here. Till now, so we learned about how to have joy in our life so you could fight the battle. But why are you fighting the battle? Remember the beginning of chapter 26, we said that you're if you don't have joy when you wrestle in a wrestling match, you're gonna lose the battle if you're not, if you're kind of down. So if you're down on life, you're not going to be able to deal with life. So you got to have joy in your life, and that's what we went through in the last chapters. But now, for what end? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? Remember, joy is not about happiness. Happiness is about achieving things or getting things and having things. Joy is an attitude about life, so you could live life. So yeah, we're going to find that out, Denise. So thank you for your patience. Okay. Bella, so a negative thought is from the animal soul. Yes, absolutely. Animal soul is where the negative thought comes from. Absolutely. Okay. Alan, that's it. I covered the questions. I got a couple of more minutes. Go ahead.
Hold on 1 second. Okay, so my sense here is that on one hand, we should be concerned with the eradication of evil, but what is being asked here of us is to remember Amalek.
Right.
And it points to Devarim, chapter 25 and pasuk 17 and 18, where we're reminded to zechor, to remember what Amalek did to you when you were in Mitzrayim.
Right.
But the pasuk 18, the other one following it, kind of really kind of speaks to me, where it speaks about how undeterred by fear of Hashem, He surprised you on the march when you were famished and weary, and cut down all the stragglers in your rear.
Right.
It's just like when I see what's happening right now in the Ukraine, and I see, and having no compassion, for people who are defenseless, really. This is what we need to remember. We need to remember what's just. Even in the action of a war, that it is inexcusable to be unjust and to take advantage of people who are famished and weary and
right.
cut down.
Yeah.
So this is how I see, in terms of remembering Amalek, is that we have to really remember what happens to us and have compassion about what happens to others in similar circumstances.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Susanna, is there a redirection of the energy from the animal soul to the godly soul? And we're going to learn about that. Sorry, Susanna. Everybody is trying to figure out what's going on over here. What is going on with me? What's my purpose? We're going to find out. Bella, is it true that I have joy? If you have joy, you receive more blessings. Absolutely. The joy itself is the vehicle for blessings. That's what we spoke about at the very beginning, chapter 26. With strength and joy in its place. That's where you have holiness in the place of God. That joy is then that connection, that divine connection. And of course brings great blessings, of which we will talk more about. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zichron Kadesh in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Remember, Rambam today, 1 o'clock. For those who get a chance, a reminder that you could go to TanyaRabbi.com and you can get the latest stuff. Or you can go to YouTube.com/TanyaRabbi and you can find there last night's class that kind of touches on this. Well, it does, actually. Very much so. So, enjoy. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining, everybody. God bless you.